Okay. Namaskar again. Yeah. Today the topic is to deal how to cope with stress. My own condition became a little stressful, as Shivji said. Somehow or the other. Uh, why is it? I don't know fully. Really, I'm very careful about my food. But yes, I did eat something from outside. Somebody gave me, and it was quite bad. And but then in the morning, when there was no fever and I started gaining a little strength, I thought I must do my regular works. So once again, it's a happy time to meet you all, the devotees at Chennai Center. One of the reasons that I was reading about this topic was because I was asked this question a few weeks back, actually, by relatively young parents who are also in this line of Mother and Aurobindo integral yoga itself. But they have young children, sitting for their examinations, going into life, how to decide things and all. They were getting into, very often they were getting into problems. And sometimes it was a little serious also. Some of the children, after their studies, somehow or the other they were going into some kind of depression, or if we could say, a feeling of, I think I should call it depression only, that I can't do anything further, and they're good students. Somehow, 3 or 4 of them came and said that, can you say something what Mother and Aurobindo have said? I said, yes, of course, what Mother and Aurobindo have said, I can say and you can understand. But when it comes to children, then it comes to you're trying to bring them up in that atmosphere or with those values or with those special attitudes which can combat in today's life the difficult situations that we have to face very many times. Anyway, we will talk about that. Certainly that will be towards the end. But then perhaps one of the reasons that I decided I should speak about it is also because, as I see in today's society, tension and stress has become a part of our living, to the extent that, as I see, our health is becoming very much affected by the way of life we live. From those angles also, I thought it may be not a bad idea to discuss this as to how Mother and Aurobindo has told us in our integral yoga to live life. Because one thing we must not forget, that they have, our yoga is life embracive, and they have said anything and everything, and what all they have said is always concerning life, concerning living life, and concerning living life in right way, in right manner. So practically speaking, the solutions are all within and all in yoga sadhana. There is no doubt about it. But what I feel is that once we know, now I am speaking to you people, you are devotees, okay? You read, you know, whenever anything happens to you all or all of us, we always look at it from a different angle, isn't it? In our social life, in our family life, in our office going life, with our friends, whatever it is, we have a different angle of looking at life. Now, if we can help others, not in the name of yoga or integral yoga at all. Like, once we had a person over here who had to go out, and of course, he had to go out with some other purposes. So then the mother told him that, okay, all these things you say, whatever you have to say about all of it, but better you don't take our name. Then to another, I'm forgetting who is the other person, whom also mother had said that you say Aurobindo's philosophy. You definitely say, but you don't take his name. Somewhere I sometimes feel, I don't know why exactly, I think the other person was our Kittu Reddy. When he went into, he was very deeply into Indian Army. And there were quite a few big army people who had come here, I still remember. He had given them a lot of spirituality. And many of them were extremely receptive. So this used to happen. So what I mean to say is that when you see such problems in the society, where we are all social people, we all live in our society, and people like you who have the understanding of life in the right manner, because we have all decided to walk the path of yoga sadhana, it is good if we can tell them how to solve their problems in the right manner. Of course, we never have to impose anything. Mother always says that everybody who is living their life the way they want to live, and they are happy living, believing in whatever they do, don't disturb them. So I don't mean that, but many times I have seen that when people come to me and I speak to them about, I've seen that in terms of human relationships, it makes a difference. It does make a difference, because many times they do not know the other side at all. Fortunately, unfortunately, we are never taught and we are never told what to say about today's parents. They themselves don't know what are they going to tell their children. How to cope up, how to deal with problems in the school, or if the teacher has spoken to you like this, what is the way you should take it? None of them. There's no preparation at all. They are so delicate and so sensitive that, get somehow affected. So they don't understand what is the right thing, what is the true thing that they should concentrate upon, and what are the things which it's okay, it happens everywhere, it doesn't matter, kind of a thing. So that is one of the reasons that I think it is good for us also to discuss this topic, so that we can be not only, of course, we are ourselves following what we, trying to follow. If I had not eaten that snack packet 2 nights back, I would not be in my bad health condition. Somewhere I was feeling it was so tasty that I took it. Somewhere I was feeling that perhaps, will it be okay for me? Is it okay for me? But I didn't listen to it. Why? Because it is lack of, I have trained myself, but still it is lack of training. It is greed, isn't it? So, if we can tell people as to what is good for you, which you are trying to, which you are feeling, or which you are understanding from within. So this inner spectrum, inner perspective, if we can give others, younger generation people, that saves them a lot. That really saves them, because in today's life, it's entirely external life. There's nothing that is taught how to understand our personality, ourselves. our sensitivities, our sensibilities, how to understand them from within us. In this, starts with the rush in the mornings, children in the school, college students, women who work, everyone, this constant rush to finish household school, chores, then they travel in cities, long distances, then numerous deadlines and commitments in workplaces here and there. The day really ends in a manner that certainly it can shake any one of us. This is actually what is called stress. Finishing our duties and responsibilities, running about constantly without being able to give any rest either to ourselves, our mind, or to our body, right? So finally what happens is that this becomes a very unhealthy thing. It is bad for our health because our body's health is controlled by our mind and our emotion, our vital, both. That is why this kind of stressful existence, stressful living, it definitely affects our health. And I spoke to, before answering these people, I spoke to some doctors, my good doctors, my own doctors and doctor friends. They said, what are the things that can happen? The muscles become tense, then one can get stiff neck and an aching back even after a successful day, because the muscles become very tense while completing the works. This I myself experience it. These days, Puducherry has become a place of visitors and tourists. There are so many, the roads are so, and they are taking photographs everywhere. Oh my God, it's a thing really, you can't imagine. I am here for so many decades. It's now happening. And they don't care what's coming. And they go by left, by right, and so fast. It's become very difficult. And when I go, I have to go every day. And whenever I come back home, my shoulders ache. I can see my muscles. And actually they said I have got spondylitis, but finally it's okay. But my muscles do tense. I can feel. I just feel that if anybody does me a little pressing, I'll feel better. Just because I'm so full of fear and so full of attention on the road. This is what happens in every, sphere of work. Digestion slows down, stomach problems begin, breathing speeds up many, many times when we are in stress. Still, we keep on working because we have to finish our work. Then there are people who experience, they said, heavy perspiration, and the ability to sweat under stress, it seems, allows the body to burn more energy. And we do not understand these things that are happening to us, but they do happen, it seems. And blood clots faster under stress. The body releases chemicals to make the blood clot during the injury. But then sugar and fats, they pour into the blood and they give more extraordinary strength to the body to finish our commitments and responsibilities. Like waking up deep in the night, or if there is any problem, to face it. It's the sugar part, it seems. So many things can happen to us, and they do happen to us when we get into some kind of stress. Now, nobody wants to say that I am stressed. We would like to show that we are all right, which is the right attitude. I'm not saying that it is not. But then at the same time, because very honestly, this attitude is, you know, this mechanism, I should say, is very important for survival. Uh, but then we also carry these bodily responses to stress. Life has become like this continuously, so fast that we have to keep up with everything: social responsibilities, family responsibilities, parental duties, looking after our elders, meeting job expectations, pleasing the head of the department. Everything is stressful, actually. So we keep swallowing small and brief initiations and stresses, which in the long run, it seems, they become destructive to the body. Therefore, people in the health field, they say that in future, people will not suffer as much from major diseases, as much like cancer and heart, etc., as from the stress-related diseases. Because people in olden days, they could live relatively a far more restful, a relaxed life because of two reasons. One thing is that they did not have to face the complexities of life that we have now. Though, of course, it is all created by us, we call it a modern life. We are in modern times. I so many times think that when we did not have these mobiles, of course, it's a source of tremendous knowledge and information, no doubt. But people lived more happily. These days, how much time, I'm talking not about much about us, I'm talking about the younger generation, how much time they spend on the mobile. I mean, life has really changed. And of the younger ones, it's becoming a problem, actually, for parents. There's no doubt about it. Recent researches show that parts of our brain that contribute to emotional and cognitive functioning, such as memory, are likely to be permanently damaged if we are chronically and regularly stressed. And this is happening to so many of my known people, actually. Many of them are, losing their memory pretty fast. Then the doctors told me that continuously stressful life, if we do not know every day. I've heard that in corporate bodies, they have started some kind of meditation in the working hours. If that is true, I'm extremely happy. At least for some time, we can dip within, which is like battery charging. That is something very nice. If that is true, I certainly do not know. So then they said it is linked with allergies, asthma, migraines, thyroid disorders, so many blood pressure related diseases, heart diseases, cervical issues, spondylitis, so many diseases. It looks like, I'm reading from the dictionary, but no, that's what they said actually. So many things. Well, I had good chats with them to know a little bit about it before going to answer those young parents actually. But then at the same time, practically speaking, to come out of it, there is only one way. Absolutely. There is no other remedy than understanding one's life, understanding the way we have been created, made, why we have been brought into this earth, in this life. We may not concern ourselves with our past lives or future, but at least Mother says, in this life, we must understand the deeper meaning of life and the reason why we are born. We all, being in this spiritual path, once we have understood that this is our life, then, and this is our living, then, of course, I will not go into the parts of the being because that we all know, you all know. Yeah, that I've already spoken, that we can speak to others about this only when we are following these things ourselves. This is a, as we know, veritable problem, no doubt. And there are a few things about which Mother says when I was working in the school and used to write letters to her, that these are the things you must speak clearly and put before others in a manner that they understand this, the worth of it. They understand the meaning. Well, it requires a great deal of effort, a deep turning within, there is no doubt. And this is one place where practices like meditation, concentration, detachment, renunciation, aspiration, trust, surrender, everything. What I mean is that this is the line that we have taken to follow, right? Surrender to the divine. They all come into play at this time to keep ourselves right and direct under the supervision of the divine. Not only we must understand and follow these because we need to live a far more balanced life than the kind of life we are currently seeing everyone leading on this earth, and we also. I would not call ourselves that we have gone a long way in the path, but yeah, we have at least got somewhere little bit we have found the key and we know what we have to do. That much I can say, but it's not very easy. Otherwise, it becomes a futile struggle, a useless struggle with no lasting benefit on ourselves. Because I see these days so many people, young or old also, even old people, elderly people also do not know. They go for these, it's a workshop, 7 days, 10 days workshop. They'll tell you how to solve these problems. They'll tell you how to do this, how to do that. Everything is eyewash. They go and then so many times they come to me and then they said, Amma, this is what they have said and this. It's just not possible. We cannot achieve anything in 7 or 10 days or 15 days. Aurobindo says there is no temporary solution to life at all. It's not there. It's just a false kind of a thing. They're fooling us with, whatever they talk, somehow or the other. So we have to know about the enduring paths. We have to know about the truths. Sri Aurobindo says, I'll read a little bit from him a little later, but the truth is that we have two consciousnesses. One is inner and one is outer. The outer personality, we all know, mind, life and body, which is giving the structure and functioning of the human being. We are functioning through these, that these are the outer ones, okay? But, and all of us know about it. But what most of the people, why we are suffering is because we do not know that this outer makeup, the outer structure is being governed by a very vast inner structure, inner world. And it is absolutely essential to dive within, to know, at least in the beginning, to know about it, and then kind of, the problem is that it keeps us trapped, this outer living that we are talking about, mind, life and body. It keeps us trapped in ignorance because we are not told, or we do not even know, or we do not make the effort to know what is the truth that supports this outer personality. You see, Western psychology normally never speaks. That is, speaks about this inner truth, inner reality, inner worlds, inner levels, inner layers. And very often I talk to, because many people are studying psychology these days, well, they say that is because they can get better jobs or they have better earning possibilities. I said, very good. But you must read the our view, not the Western. That is one part. It's okay, but that's very outer. So you have to delve into Upanishads. You have to delve into the Gita, a profoundly psychological scripture. Absolutely. I mean, when I gave the example to these youngsters, then I said it's like a big building. We see second floor, third floor, fourth floor, beautiful verandas, lovely flower pots are nicely arranged, everything very nice. But they don't know that the whole building is having a structure below the earth, which is the foundation. That's what is the inner, which is actually more serious. Aurobindo says, now I'm telling you in his words, the very first step in getting out of the ignorance is to accept the fact that this outer consciousness is not one's soul, not oneself, not the real person, but only a temporary formation on the surface for the purposes of surface play. Whatever we call is Leela, that is what it is. It is a play. Our life is a play. Surface activities are a play. What is a play? I'm getting a drama done in August. That's a play. Everybody is playing a part. All of us. So our surface activities, our life is a play. It's a leela. Fine. But it has two aspects again. So long as we take the outer as the true ones, the problem is there. But if we can understand that whatever we are doing, God is making us do everything to have our experience. What is the experience? Experience is experience of God, experience of the truth in life. Just now I was telling you about detachment, this, that, and so many things. Renunciation, aspiration, surrender to the divine. Those are the truths of life. To get true peace in life is the truth of life. To live life under stress, one may be very successful, may have a lot of money, may have a lot of fame, may have a lot of name, may have a very high kind of a career, all right. But does it truly have the inner peace? No, it cannot happen. Because to live for truth, there's a process that we have to follow. So this is what Aurobindo says, that take it The real person, not the real person, but only a temporary formation of the surface for the purposes of surface play. So our ordinary life is surface play, right? And the second quotation he gives, so what I mean to say is that whenever you come to your children or your grandchildren, as I understand, in my age, everybody gets grandchildren. And sometimes my friends still say, Deepshikha, please tell how to deal with this. This is what they are asking. This is what they are doing. But nothing happens when one is, 19, 20, 16, 17. One has to give these values from when one is young, actually. But it's okay. It doesn't matter. At any time also, it's quite fine. No problem. Not to take these things as seriously as that, because it is a play. We have to make them understand what is the truth of life, and what we are living is this, which is very important, no doubt. Without that, we are not doing justice to our lives. Certainly, I'm not saying that. But at the same time, how much importance do we have to give it? In the second quotation, Aurobindo says, there are always two different consciousnesses in the human being, the one outward, in which he ordinarily lives, the other inward and concealed, of which he knows nothing. When one does yoga sadhana, the inner consciousness begins to open and one is able to go inside and have all kinds of experiences there. The inner consciousness begins to be a place of deep peace, light, happiness, love, closeness to the divine. One is then aware of two consciousnesses, the inner one and the outer, which has to be changed. The outer one has to be changed into its counterpart, which is the inner one, an instrument that also must become, the outer part must become full of peace, light, union with the divine. Now we have to make, if we have understood it and if we are living this life, then we have to make others understand that, you see, now in whatever words, I'm not talking about any spiritual jargon or anything like that, but because I have been a teacher, so I have been able to make them understand without necessarily talking about Gita and this and that, because most of them, they don't know, and they cannot have immediately a trust and faith in these spiritual treatises. So with different kind of examples, but somehow or the other, we have to make them understand that there is another life. And how to reach that also. But what is very nice is that I have seen, my dear friends, that younger generation is very open and receptive to something deeper. They are living an ordinary life. If they are not told, how will they know? If their parents and others have not told them, if they have not read those books, how will they know? They do not, many of them do not know Ramayana, many of them do not know Mahabharata, many of them do not know about Tirukural. They don't know. In Tamil Nadu, here I am, I was doing value education for 11 years, 10, 11 years. In Tamil Nadu, teachers in the schools, they do not know properly about Tamil culture. This is happening today. This is happening today. Well, our life is such. It's a fast life. Meeting deadlines itself is enough. If you can sleep, if they can sleep late in the night or whenever it is, with a feeling that I have done my job, that's great. Nothing much more. So these are things that have to be given to them slowly, but it can be given and it can change their life. I have seen many of them contacting me even after years, and they say that you told us about this truth and I followed it. And now I am in America, and I feel if I did not know about it, my life would have been very different. So that's a nice contribution, I feel, to youngsters, to make them understand, as Sri Aurobindo is saying, what is the difference between the outer and inner, and that there is a vast treasure within us, and we can take hold of that. It is possible. It is definitely possible. And then the life gets somewhat balanced out. It is kind of, we have to bring that peace, light, knowledge, and joy, which are within us, to the surface, and all of that, all of that is stored within us. It is as though there is a door which is locked within us, and we have to find the key. If we can give them the information of the key in this stressful today's life in the cities, I mean, they are really running. I see the youngsters, isn't it? They are truly running all the time. You feel bad about it, but as the doctors told me, that it is the sugar that gives them the energy to meet with all the situations in life. So we don't have to talk to them about yoga sadhana as such, but yes, we have to let them know the truth of life. And once they know this layer, the inner layer and the outer layer, there is something inner. That itself, they know about temples, they have heard a lot about meditation and all that. They know about retreats, they tell me. We have gone, we are doing. Yeah, what have you learned? This. Are you remembering that? Are you following that? No. What is best about Sri Aurobindo, what attracted me when I was very young, even before I came, was that he said, you can be with God all your life, all through your life. I was a student in the school at that time. It was so interesting. I said, oh my God, that's possible. Yeah, many things we cannot say, but they are so true. And that really changed my life. That is what I love most. They don't say, don't live lavishly. Live beautifully, no doubt about it. Live comfortably. Live aesthetically. Everything. Have cars, have air conditions, everything. But once you have lived with the inner values when you are living, tomorrow, if the air condition is not there, you will never complain to God. You would know that it is He who has taken it away for my good. So living with the divine and knowing about the inner life, inner existence, where there is light, peace, knowledge, whatever we are talking about, if once they understand and they trust in this and they follow it, because the guide is the mother, guide is the divine. If you are Krishna Bhakta, the guide is Sri Krishna. If you are the Bhakta of Mother Durga, she will guide. So that way, we see that once we give them the key to the door of knowledge, then it becomes easy for them to deal with stress. Quite a few of them have come and told me that I thought this what they call multinational company's job, if once I leave, then what will happen at all to me? But then and there was a lot of stress, and I said, I don't care. I will do my way. And I saw that they were afraid of me. They said, no, we can't behave with her like this. We have to do this way, this way, this way. And this inner strength came to her. She told, that's what she told me. When I understood what I am from within, this is not the be all and end all of my life. I'll be able to stand on my own feet and properly, because the real truth is within me. So this confidence itself is enough. Why is it that we never get into depression? That is because we know we are not alone. The mother is with me. Psychic is with me. She is holding me together. And I'm calling her all the time. So this is a great, confidence, inner confidence, you see. Okay. I had for them, I have prepared a big thing. Again, Sri Aurobindo says that we individuals are located at different levels and points in the gradient of consciousness. Like we are all different human beings, each with a different consciousness. And then he further explains that consciousness also varies. Some are completely caught up in interchange with the external world, absorbed in the play of vital forces. Now, this is something very important. Today we are discussing about stress, no? This is completely in the vital world. Interchange with the external world, absorbed in the play of the vital forces, concentrating mainly on satisfying their cravings and passions. Such people live on the surface, ordinary consciousness, engaging only with the outer world. Now, why we have stress? All of us have, there is no doubt. We people have started walking on this path, but we are very much under the control of ego. So we also have our stress. Everything is caused basically by ego, which is all the time teaching us to be self-centered, which is always teaching us to be absorbed in the outer pattern of life. There's no doubt about it. So seldom there are people, Sri Aurobindo is saying, who live in their mental state, not the kind of mental, I'm talking about the higher mental state and spiritual consciousness. That is seldom. He is writing seldom. So when we turn inside, that is, when we begin to practice our yoga, then we start to understand about the different worlds within us. And we start becoming more aware of ourselves. And it is only then, it starts only then that we start recognizing what needs to be corrected or changed within us or trained within us. Again, I'm giving my own example. While eating this snack, it was very tasty, I felt there was a good sense in me, or there is, I should say that, something more true within me said that, Deepshikha, I think you don't eat this. But it was my greed. I should say I am one of the persons who have really worked on my greed, believe it or not. But what happened that night? Or two days consecutively I ate that snack, which was not right for me. And I got a violent attack on my body. So that is exactly what I mean to say is that those who are relatively conscious like us, even we get into problems. So what here Sri Aurobindo is saying, that our weaknesses, our difficulties, the aspects on which we must work upon, we become aware of them when we go and try to live within. right? That, like, I should not overindulge, I shouldn't do this, whatever it is. With each one, it is different, isn't it? So it that's why Sri Aurobindo is saying, na, this path does not ask us that way, never to withdraw from life, but to live in this life rightly. A wider universe unfolds when we attune ourselves to these inner energies, and it is only by turning inward that we discover real answers to all our disturbances and difficulties. Right? Okay. So, living in the vital we are talking about. Sri Aurobindo says that most of us are living in the vital, that is, in their desires. Vital is primarily in our desires, passions, emotions, sensations, impulses, and imaginations. People experience and judge everything from these standpoints, right? This is today's world. Only a minority people live in the higher level of mind or spirit. So basically, these living in the vital or the lower vital movements is the, uh, what is it called? It's our life, actually. So when we can purify our emotions, our thinking, and turn them or transform them, try to understand them and elevate them to a little higher level, then we can handle them better. Because at that time, what is happening is that these things are going under some kind of transformation. And then mother, that's why, in olden days, mother used to tell all of us to write diaries. Actually, I mean, even before my time, not 50s or even before, diaries. Diary writing is a thing which keeps our journey very well organized. And then we understand, oh no, because when we write, when we articulate things in writing, then we remember them more. And, or when we suffer, like what yesterday, what I suffered, I would never do that again. Never ever do that again. Suffering teaches us. Anyway, I was talking about diary writing. So here, I'm just taking out some points and telling you they are very beautiful to read. But then, as the mother is saying, the vital being in us is the seat of impulses and desires, of enthusiasm and violence, of dynamic energy and desperate depression, of passion and revolt. So then she says that if you can train it properly, and vital being is very important, there's no doubt about it. If you can train it properly, then it can be very supportive. It can really, really take us in our journey very deep within us. Very nice, very, very, very beautiful things. So she says, until the vital is disciplined and governed by a force higher and stronger than itself, it pursues its own satisfaction. And in today's world, what we see is that everybody is out to satisfy themselves, right? This is in our hands. We can do. And that's how I explain to others without taking the name of vital or this or that, how this energy, this vital energy can be helpful for us, Anyway, I won't go deep into this, but recognizing, mother is saying that A deeper understanding of our difficulties related to stress comes from recognizing our vital state, right? Stress is a condition in which one feels out of control, unable to manage oneself, right? So it is gaining control of oneself is becoming unstressed. To de-stress oneself, one has to gain control on oneself. And Mother says, first training to ourselves in yoga sadhana is to recognize, know ourselves from within. What are my propensities? What are my temperaments? Where I am strong, where I am weak, I have to work upon them. First thing is to know ourselves. Second thing, she says, when we know ourselves, then we can identify our problems. When we can identify our problems, then we can correct ourselves, right? And after we can correct ourselves, we can say that we can slowly gain control on us. And gaining control is something very, very important. I would like to, there is little time, I'd like to speak a little bit about our responsibilities. Our means all of you and us, towards our children, so that we can do something good to them. You know, recently in India, there were 22 deaths, suicides, in this field of education and examination, etc., etc. That is one of the reasons that Mother did not keep any in our school, Aurobindo International Center of Education. Mother did not keep any examinations at all. She said, no, I will judge a student throughout the year, his performance, but not through an examination. However, many schools have realized that, and many good schools are trying to do things in different ways. But the problem is that in the mainstream line of education, whatever is there by the government, we have to also follow that. But, you know, we can give them values by ourselves. What we can teach them at home when they are small, when they are with you all, that look, children, success and passing examinations, or success in the sense of today's terms. By today's terms, I mean, you know, being in a big post, having a big status, you know, those kind of things. I mean, that is not the success. That's not the only aim of life, you know. That is something we have to teach them. There are and in today's world, especially, one thing good about today's world is that there are so many avenues where one can excel, where one can do what one wants to do. Parents must teach children their true aim of life, must talk to them, which I feel so many parents do not do to their children. Must talk to them, explain to them in a very friendly manner what is the truth of life. Give examples and be examples themselves. That's why I'm saying that we have to follow this, whatever Mother and Aurobindo have said, this life of inner life and how to deal with outer life. This we have to follow ourselves. If we do not follow, whatever we say will never have any effect. That is for sure. That is for absolutely sure. It's our responsibility, the parents. We have to follow a moral life, a very reasonable life, an ethical life, a dharmic life, without excesses, without pomp and show, without doing things that we feel are not right. I have never gone to any marriage where I have felt that they are wasting money and showing off and this and that. No, I say if they cannot feel that poor children, poor people should be educated with that money, how many poor people could have been educated? I will not go to such. Of course, my life is different because I am in the ashram. You cannot follow it like this because you have a decorum to follow. But then still, at least tell the children the truth, good values like generosity, sharing, participating in good and beneficial social activities. Not teach children to come up, proving themselves. So many children, they want to prove themselves. For that, they can become even violent, overpowering others. There are so many wrong things that are happening, and parents do not object to that, we have to teach them, first thing, to be calm in life. I remember when we used to have difficulty in our schools, my father used to say, okay, did you tell the mother? No, mother is our deity. That's okay. Otherwise, whoever is the deity. We have to teach the children to befriend the divine, who is the best possible, how do you call that, friend. You have a friend, you have a person in Chennai. I know her, I'll not name her right now. She brought up her children in this manner, and in London, her child was going in a train from one place to another. There was nobody in the train, and it was a difficult patch. Anything could have happened. There comes an elderly lady, sits beside her, talks with her, and for some time, and it seems when she had to get down, she looks at her, she was nowhere. You see how the divine came in the form or bhesh of a lady, elderly grandmother type, and that difficult path. So children have to understand, have to be made to understand that we have the divine with us, and that can be done only by the parents. I'm not talking really about the teachers or anybody else. And we don't have to bring into any yoga sadhana. It is through stories, it is through regular this thing, life. Yeah. I remember my father telling me, I was telling him, I feel I used to go to a friend of mine to learn something over there, and there was a very dark patch in Delhi. I was very small, and I remember I told my father that it's a very dark patch and I feel very afraid. He said, you keep only saying mama, mama all through the path. Then you tell me how you feel. So, I mean, these are small exercises, but they are so important because, you see, we have so many, because of our, whatever we might say, westernized educational system, still like the Britishers or whatever it is. Why don't we have our own scriptures, a part of these teachings in our schools? We don't have. Very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. But our world is becoming more and more complex unless we understand ourselves and the true key to peace and happiness in our individual life, and teach our children the true path. It will be difficult for them to bear with stress, because stress is going to become manifold even in future times. The way they talk about G5, I don't know what is this, G5 or whatever it is, and this and that, all kind of things. Where is the world going? However, whether it is everywhere you see the wars and this and that, and they take pride in putting the missiles and this and drones. Oh my God. So we have to learn to find peace, truth, God's love within ourselves and teach the children. It's our social responsibility to see that we do good not only to ourselves but also to others. I can't imagine that I could speak to you. In the morning also I was not so well. Thank you so much. Okay? Namaskar.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
First of
Thank you.
all,
Very
thanks to the Mother's grace that despite your setback in your health yesterday and day before yesterday, you were able to join us and you could deliver your lecture. Uh, this stress and anxiety, it is a very this is affecting the present age more than anything else. Everybody has got some sort of a stress or another, but most of the stress, there are stresses which are happening which we cannot avoid. For example, if we have illness, naturally a common man will have some sort of a stress. Those things we cannot avoid. But there are stresses and anxieties which we can avoid. That is where we should concentrate. And no doubt you've spoken that the stress, how the stress affects one's physical health, how it causes changes it causes changes in your system, in your body, and in your mental status, mental health, how it affects your mental health, everything you've spoken. The only solution is that the only solution, one should understand that we are living on the surface. This one, supposing if, as you rightly said, as the followers of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo, how we can guide people who are suffering from this stress and how we can guide ourselves also is that to become aware that most of the times we live on the surface. The
absolutely
surface living is not a true living.
not a truly. Absolutely.
So, uh, first we should realize that. Secondly, we should try to go inward. There is instead of living in our surface consciousness, we should try to go within and try to live in our inwardly, in our inner consciousness. Once we touch the realm of the inner consciousness,
Exactly.
it opens up to a deep peace and happiness. So the solution lies in going inwards. That is a crux of your talk. The solution lies first is to realize that we are living on the surface. Whatever the experiences we are facing on the surface, it is not true. It is all passing phase. It has no lasting value. But there is something within us which is of a lasting value, which has deep peace and happiness.
Yes,
So we should
absolutely.
try to we should try to um, we should try to go as frequently as possible, as often as possible to our inner realm,
Absolutely.
and we should once we go there, then the deep peace and happiness will be able to enjoy, and then whatever happens on the surface will not be able to affect us. That is the only solution. That is what the Mother
Only
and Sri Aurobindo has spoken about it.
no
For
other
that,
solution.
yes. So we have to go more and more inwards and try to live within. That is the only solution. For that is it's a long practice is required. It can't be done in a day or two.
No.
It's a long practice. We should. Sri Aurobindo has stated many times that you should be a witness to all things happening outside. and slowly you should try to detach from the happenings of whatever happening outside. And once you detach yourself, then naturally you can go more and more inwards, and you will be less affected by whatever happening outside. So this is the only way to. At the same time, you should act in the world. See, Mother and Sri Aurobindo has never stated that you should always remain. You should always live within, detached, and be aloof from the worldly affairs. They have never stated that. You can engage yourself in the worldly activities, and yet you can remain unaffected by them. For that, you must try. You must have a strong. You must have your strong roots to live within. Your roots should be your living should be rooted in your inner self, even though you're acting outside. That is the only solution. And naturally, we have to raise our consciousness. You've also spoken about how nowadays people live mostly in the vital plane. The vital plane consists of desires and impulses and emotions. One should know the different movements of their being, in which plane I'm acting, whether I'm acting from the mental plane or the physical plane or a vital plane. Supposing if I'm talking, if I'm reacting, from which plane I'm reacting, that one should be aware. The moment you know that, okay, this is not the right plane to act from, then you can slowly elevate yourself to a higher plane of action. As long as mostly these actions from the vital plane, desires and impulses and emotions, mostly it causes stress, because this plane, you're bound to emotions, you're bound to wrong emotions. So the only way is that we have to elevate our consciousness and slowly live in a higher consciousness. If we practice this naturally, no doubt whatever things are happening outside, they'll continue to happen, because as long as we live in this world, we can't escape from the what is happening in the world. You can't escape from that. Things will continue to happen, but we will remain unaffected by those external happenings. So the only solution is that we have to live within, and most importantly, we should be aware that there is the divine grace watching over us. It is always within us. That can only give the real comfort, especially for the mother and followers of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. We are very certain that the mother is within us and she is watching over us. She is watching over all our actions, all the events of our life. Whatever happens, she is there in the background to support us, and her grace is guiding us at all times. If we have the strong faith in that, no matter what happens outside, we will remain unaffected. So, this is the only solution. And we should teach our children to rely on the divine. So these are all the things by which it is a multi-pronged approach. It requires a lot of practice. It requires engagement of our entire being. Only then this can be tackled. Otherwise, by mere attending a course, a 10-day course or 5-day course, they are quick fix. They will not give a lasting solutions. This is what today we have learned from your talk, and thank you so much for enlightening us. Because the stress and anxiety is something nobody is exempted, whether we like it or not. In our life, we are exposed to stress and anxiety, which affects our health, and one should have control over our lives, so that we will be able to master our circumstances, and we can remain unaffected by these external happenings. Thank you so much, Deepshikha ji, for participating in our satsang and sharing the valuable thoughts, guidance of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. On behalf of everyone assembled here, on behalf of Sri Aurobindo Society, Chennai, we thank you so much.
I would like to say two words. Uh, like I think I've said before also in my previous talks also, that uh, Shivji's paraphrasing, it completes my talk. Rather, I should say, uh, he has said something which I forgot to say, which was what he said. You see, very correctly, because my notes were so large that I didn't touch upon that. The truth is that what he said is that when we start living slowly, it's a long effort, no doubt about it. Inside, within, then what happens is that the things that are happening on the outer life, you know, without going inside, the way we would have reacted to what is happening to us in our outer life would have been different. And when we start living within slowly, it's a slow process and it's an analytical process. We have to, for everything that happens, we have to analyze, if this has happened. He said a very important point, which I think I forgot to say. Mother keeps saying that try to find out where it is arisen from. It has come from the vital, lower, higher. It has come from the mind. Which kind of mind? Critical mind, analytical mind, which kind of, everything. Or was it your physical laziness? What was it? Always try to find the source of it. She always says the source is most important. It's only then that you can correct yourself, which I forgot to say, and our brother Shivji said, and it's so important. So then, as he rightly said, is that when we start understanding these things and living this way, then the reaction of the outer life, whatever is happening in my office or in my house, family also, so many things happen, wherever it is, the reactions will become very different, because I then look at that problem not as a temporary problem or anything, but look at it from a different angle altogether, because then I'm coming close to the truth. So this is not the truth. So I don't give it that much importance. And the mother says, always in life, learn what is primary and what is secondary. This I would never forget. I find it so important. Whenever I've been in trouble, I say to myself, well, now let me see. Is it primary or secondary? Oh, it is secondary? Okay, you don't have to worry that much. So the whole attitude changes in the outer life. So when we are stationed within, then our life starts changing in the outer. This is the thing that Shivji said, and he kind of gave the whole contour, the right ending, which I could not. Shivji, thank you, my dear. Namaskar.
Thank you. Welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.